Commander, I'm reading a signal. Must be our Solarian infiltrators here.
Check out those defense towers.
Drop the Mako. We'll go in hot and take them out.
I'll get you in underneath their radar, Commander. You've got a clean drop, Commander.
Stay out of range and continue evasive maneuvers until I bring those AA towers down.
I know the drill. Meet you at the camp once those towers are offline. Joke around.
Mass Effect walkthrough. Here we are finally on Virmire, and this is probably the planet that got a lot of people interested in the game. At least that's how it worked out with me. I remember playing this game like 3 or 4 different times and then not getting to Virmire and quitting before I got here, and then one time I sat down and was like, I'm gonna beat Mass Effect, and I got to Virmire, and this changed my whole view on what was possible in a video game. At least through the storytelling. I mean, today the combat might seem kind of primitive, but back then this game was actually pretty dang cool. And of course, with a lot of my friends that I tried to get into this game, I just kept telling them, finish Virmire, you'll probably like Mass Effect after that. And it is a different planet, so it's water covered, and it kind of gives the small illusion of being slightly more open than the other planet. But it's really just on a rail like everything else. There's going to be a lot of these Geth rocket troopers and the Geth floating turret things all over the place. And we're just going to be driving in the Mako for a huge chunk of this planet, much like the others. So shoot them from far away, and we're going to run into a couple of Geth Colossus and things like that. And also these other random little enemies, like these alien species that spawn here. They don't do any damage to you, but they die in one hit, and they're kind of fun to kill. I don't know why. Over in the background, we got lightning, and we really just get to see how this is not a nice planet when it comes to the weather. Although maybe it is actually a pretty nicely weathered planet. I don't actually know what I'm trying to say there. So the goal of us right now is we're trying to get to the forward base camp where the Solarians are, and we have to find Saren's laboratory. So that's going to be mostly what we're doing on Virmire, plus a bunch of other things. So I think this is another somewhat lengthy planet, but it also is the second to last planet. There's only one more Citadel adventure, and then another planet, and then that's pretty much the end of the game afterwards. So we're getting close to the end. And that means next will maybe be Mass Effect 2. I have that one all recorded and ready to edit. I just gotta get it edited, so yeah, we'll see. It's kind of sitting down to try to edit lots of videos at once can get boring after a little while, but I'll get it up eventually. I might have Luigi's Mansion 3 before then, though, but anyway, we'll worry about that later. There's going to be a couple of these kind of, what should we call them? Bunker base stations, something like that. There's going to be a few of these that we'll have to deal with first, and I think there might be 2 or 3. They're all exactly the same layout. There's like a staircase on the left or right side, and then there's a long walkway, and then at the end of that there's like a control room. So right now the doors are all open, so we don't have to get out and explore these, but it might be beneficial if you want to get extra items or experience, so I think I do end up doing that here, yes. And there's just going to be pretty easy Geth. By this point in the game, you should have decent gear, decent items, and it's not a bad idea to check the stores in the Citadel or wherever you find them to see if they have items that you can afford that are better than the ones you're using. But as I said, I think at the beginning of the game, the shops aren't as good as the drops that you're going to get just by playing. And especially if you play on New Game Plus, like, if you actually do play this game twice, you get some really insane weapons the second time through. So it's kind of fun how just the higher level you get, the more good items that the game drops on you. But it's also kind of pointless because you don't really need those super strong weapons to succeed. But Anyway, if we had higher decryption, which is something, it's a mistake I did do. I didn't disable the auto level up for my companions, and if I had, I'd be able to put the points in decryption like I should have been doing, and it could have opened up those extra terminals. And a lot of those terminals in Mass Effect 1, I think I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again, they give you side quests sometimes, but they also give you a lot of story, and it's funny because so much of the story in this game is told through text that I think a lot of people missed it, because, you know, text in a video game doesn't really work. You kind of have to, especially today, and even in 2007, it was really becoming that point where people wanted the story told to them. They didn't want to sit down and read with a controller in their hands. And I say that kind of cautiously because people love Final Fantasy VII, and that game was like all text from beginning to end, non-stop text, text, text. But I'd say there is such a thing as over the top when it comes to text, but Japan's a little bit more used to that, I think, than America was in that time. So it just, I do remember some complaints among friends of mine of Mass Effect was that there's so much text they have to read, especially if you open up the codex. They do have that guy that narrates it to you, so you can have an audiobook, or you can sit there and read it all. And the codex is a very cool thing to read, especially right before you finish the game. It's just a lot of fun to go through the codex, read all the entries, and just see the whole story that BioWare was once capable of telling. So that's kind of my weird tangent from those terminals that I'm always forgetting about. Some of them do have some cool stories, and if you kind of keep track of them, a lot of the time they end up showing up in the later games. But enough about that, I guess. So there's not really a whole lot more to this video. We're just going to be following the water and killing the enemies and trying to get to that forward base station, so I'm gonna continue on in the next video.
must be a way to shut that gun down.
I'm reading that the grid is down, Commander. On approach to the Solarian base now. Out.
Ready to continue. On your mark, Commander Shepard.
Commander, Normandy's touched down at the base, but it looks like we're grounded. The Solarian captain can explain when you get here.
There go the Solarians.